Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to talk about police and how EVs are better. But first, Casey's going to roll that title card.
Yeah, I was gonna say a RoboCop quote, but I forgot. So
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
Hello,
it was
everybody.
the pistol.
Thanks for joining us today. I got this interesting story that came in through Tesla North, which had this article about Tesla police EVs offering at least a 4 times cost savings over gas-powered cruisers. And what was cool about the article, which we'll link below if you'd like to read it yourself, was that they looked at the 5-year operating cost of three vehicles: a Tesla Model Y, a Cybertruck, and a Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle. And over the 5-year operating cost, the Model Y came up with a almost $20,000 mark, $19,500.
Wow.
It spent in operating costs. The Cybertruck was at an even $24,000 over 5 years. And get this, the Ford utility vehicle, $84,000 over 5 years.
And that's assuming that it wasn't crashed or curbed or any of the other weirdness that you can
Right.
get.
That is strictly operating costs, which include fuel and, of course, the routine maintenance of the vehicle.
And tires.
Why
Yeah.
are they so radically different? That confuses me.
Because one is a maintenance machine and the other is solid state.
So it depends on how often that vehicle is in use. Is that what they're comparing?
Yeah,
it
yeah, because
to?
they sit there idling. They got the computers. They got the air conditioning. They might have a canine, and every 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles, 10, whatever the recommendation is from their fleet dealer, they're going to have to do their maintenance, and it adds up.
The Ford utility requires about $62,000, almost $63,000 in strictly fuel.
Yeah, that too.
And $21,100 in maintenance over its duty life cycle. So, yes, fuel is the overwhelming amount of money in these charts.
Yeah,
but still, when it comes to tires and other maintenance issues, all three vehicles can be part of that. Like this, there's no getting away from tire wear, whether you're driving an EV or a gas vehicle. Tire wear is going to happen based on the mileage of the vehicle, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, they also found that the ones that were comfortable were able to go further in the electrics because in the Tesla specifically, they have the powertrain warranty is substantially longer at 150,000 miles for most of the ones they looked at versus 60,000 miles on the Ford.
Yep, that's a big difference. And Casey, you were talking about some people were belly aching that the Model Y is smaller than a Ford utility vehicle, but you had a valid point.
Yeah, so they were saying, the Model Y and the Model 3 are much smaller than that Ford, especially the Tahoe, which is even bigger than the Ford. And I was like, well, they were in sedans until Ford stopped making sedans. So you're going to have to use another metric for that one.
Yeah, so it was either moved to the utility vehicle or there was not going to be a patrol car at that time.
Yeah. I guess they're all done F-150s, but they've always had police trucks, but you don't want your whole fleet to be pickup trucks because of cost, unless you're like 90% of your region is swampland or something where you need the truck. But I mean, it's like in Alaska, you'll see more police pickup trucks than you will sedans. But even there, that's taxpayer funded fuel. They're gonna only deploy them in the folks who are going rural. The folks who stay in the town, in the city, they're gonna get something that's more fuel efficient.
Right. And here's something to to better demonstrate what the difference is why the savings are so high when it comes to an EV over a gas vehicle. The major factor is idling, the savings in idling. Police vehicles spend hours with their engines running to power lights, radios, computers,
cameras,
while they're just sitting there. They're not doing anything. The vehicle's not moving. Those gas engines are highly inefficient during this time. They're burning fuel at $3.50 a gallon, if not more, while they're adding significant wear to the engine.
And just like a tractor, you got an hour meter on them.
And they're not turning the wheels at all. They're just sitting there powering other accessories through a generator.
Yeah. And then just like a tractor, you got to, I don't know if they actually have a gauge with the number of hours on it, but just like that, it's like, oh, you've been in service for a month. It's time to come on in and do an oil change, but I've only got 100 miles on it. Yeah, well, how long were you sitting there watching that traffic light or doing the school resource thing?
And then, of course, when it comes to the EV, you're pulling the electronics are being powered directly from the battery pack, and that's a cost of about 18 cents per kilowatt hour, which needs no motor running. It's just pulling it from the pack and powering those specifics without wasting anything.
Yeah, and one thing, Upfit over at Unplugged Performance, they did a chart of their own, and it drove it home a little harder. They pointed out that you can get one from them, on order. You just call them up and it'll be ready soonish. Versus, you could be looking at anywhere from 8 months to 48 months of lead time from your fleet supplier and your fleet dealer to get a legacy police car, because they got to make it to the factory, deliver it to the dealer. Dealer's got to bring it in, have you sign for it. Then you got to ship it off to your people, put the lights and sirens and cage in it, and then you get it back. Whereas Unplugged, they're right across the street from the factory. They put it in, and there it is. You're good to go.
Yeah. Look at that. That does not look like the old Bluesmobile.
No.
the Dodge Monaco or whatever it was.
Exactly.
I wonder if in Michigan they still got to do the little the flip up or the shine the light on it, the stop, pull over on the hood of the Cybertruck.
Yeah, so Unplugged Performance obviously has worked into these police outfits for some time now. And they've been very successful in rolling Model Ys and Cybertrucks out to different police forces, even the Model 3 initially. But I think Model Ys have really taken over that work as well as the Cybertruck.
Yeah, it's probably the best balance for what you've got to work with. You've got, they've got the utility belt on. You've got, instead of having to climb up or roll down to get out, you just step in, step out. And then if they're going to use it for transport, then it's got more room to deal with your passenger. Let's call them that. Because there's various reasons somebody could be back there, but let's call them the passenger. And so I think that's going to be the best all around. Obviously, you'll need the Cybertruck for the same place that you'd need a pickup truck, police truck. So.
And what a great patrol vehicle to be out in, say, a natural disaster or something. With the elevated ride, you're going to be able to avoid water coming in or being able to get over sand or other things that have maybe impacted a community.
Go plug it into City Hall,
where you've got the ability to go over some bumps. You don't have to take it easy. The vehicle's designed for that, so definitely makes sense. But
even better, like you said, you just had a hurricane or you've got a tornado rolled through. You can plug it into City Hall or wherever the shelter is and run it, and then the other one can go be charging, and then you can tanker some electricity back to your command center to keep order, keep everybody safe, and keep until the rest of society can be brought back online.
The article also points out about several police departments are already using or putting these dollar figures to the test. They don't mention Chief Todd in.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. in Indiana, but they mentioned about Anaheim, California, Murphy, Texas. They've integrated Teslas into their fleets with great success.
Yeah.
They're indicating that while the cost benefits are undeniable, they do have some officers that have noted that maybe there are some limitations on interior space in the cabins. But as municipal budgets tighten, a $60,000 savings gap per vehicle makes it kind of difficult for different departments to ignore such a savings available per vehicle.
I guess Chief Todd told us he was able to get more cars and more officers with the savings.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
it's real. And one of the folks that was interviewed for these articles, they one department indicated how much they were paying, and it was still less than the study said. But another said they literally did no maintenance. They put in the washer fluid and had a set of tires, and that was a very strong for a year. Policemen aren't always very gentle on their cars, or the public is not gentle on the policeman in the car.
Yep.
And so to be able to pull that off on multiple cars that's the testament right there.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when we first interviewed Chief Todd many years ago. He was talking about how the city bean counters were looking at dollars spent for their fleet, and they could not believe at that time that the savings were there for an EV just on fuel to make such a difference that they could actually, with just 4 cars put on, they could actually hire an additional officer, cover his wage based on just fuel savings of 3 or 4 vehicles. It was something that they didn't believe until the savings started coming in the first quarter. And with that under their belt, they decided to go all EV, and they ended up getting a number of different Model 3s and Model Ys added to their fleet to save the city even more money.
Yeah, because when we first talked to him, the Model Y hadn't even started the mass production ramp, so it was. Right. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't. It was like, hey, is your next one gonna be a Model Y? It wasn't like, hey, why didn't you get a Model Y?
And another first for Chief Todd was that they got their first Model Y and they made it the first canine vehicle.
Oh, cool!
So they outfitted the back for the dog, and it was the first, as far as I know, the first Model Y canine vehicle on the roads.
That's sweet. So I'm wondering now with the latest update, does it say officer friendly is sitting friendly at 78 degrees?
Exactly.
If you remember last week, we talked about what you could name.
That's right.
The animal.
Pet mode. Yeah. It shows his badge number.
Yeah. Officer 678 friendly is available.
Exactly. So very cool. This is something that we have trumpeted for some time. It makes complete sense. And I'm glad to see that more of these white papers are getting out there, and people are starting to tune into, hey, this could work for us. It's working for so many other police departments. What I was kind of surprised about was the Cybertruck numbers are not bad at all. Going from a $19,000 amount to a $24,000 amount, and using a Cybertruck instead, certainly is the operational cost is not prohibitive to use that. So
I have a question. When they do these upfits, so in like the Model Y, the rear doors have emergency releases, but they're not exactly obvious. But if you know where they're at, you could pop the door if you're trapped back there. Well, do they have to take those out when they make them police vehicles, or do they just assume the criminals don't know where those are? Or are they allowed legally to remove those?
I mean, if they're not
allowed
legally,
an excellent question. I'm not sure if they would be allowed legally to do that.
I'm sure there's exceptions for police vehicles where you have to have someone restrained. Interesting. Yeah. So hey, well, if you're ever arrested and put in the back of a Model Y, leave a comment.
I think there's easier ways to find out, but I think if they're not allowed to remove it, then it would be a matter of they're relying on the fact that then if the person does that maneuver and it's not a real emergency, then they become a fugitive from the law with a unauthorized exit from the vehicle.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not do it. You can look, though. You can just
Maybe
look.
not.
I mean, you can look, and what I would suggest instead would be when they come to your town, maybe if they're at your Drive Electric month, just look at the door pocket and see if it's there, and then if you do see the flap or the on the Cybertruck, you actually see the mechanism. Just ask them, hey, is that still function? And if not, why? I mean, obviously why, but if not,
you could ask them for sure.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, with that said, let's do some shout outs. Let's start today with Patrick. What do you got for us?
Well, if you want to escape from your gas car, you should go to driveelectricmonth.org and go check it out. So, as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. We have an event coming up in just 2 days. You should type in your zip code at that and find it and come hang out with us. And
what's the website for them to find out and type in their own zip code?
Yes, that is driveelectricmonth.org. There you go. Just Google Drive Electric Month, and right in the upper right, you can type in your zip code, and they'll show you what's happening near you, and they're all around the world. So you'll probably have one that's not too far from you, I hope.
There you go.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Casey, what do you got for us?
Well, catch us on Sunday for Let's Chat with Casey and Friends over at x.com/Casey Green, youtube.com/Casey Green. We'll catch you back here Monday for the Tesla Life Express Edition 2.
Perfect. With that said, please give us a thumbs up on the video. Press that subscribe button. Helps us out immensely. And we'll get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
See you live on Wednesday.